All right, we'll call this meeting to order. Our roll call is up first. Council at Large Cummins.
Here.
At Large Postian.
Here.
Council Ward number 1 Hembry. Ward number 2 Helm.
Here.
Ward number 3 McNeil.
Here.
All right, pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first up is the agenda approval. If there are no additions, is there a motion to approve the agenda? Hembry with the first, then McNeil with the second.
Helm,
Yes.
Postian,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes.
Cummins. Yes.
All right, so that moves us down to communications, and we do have someone scheduled. It's a discussion of possible action that would concern blocking off an intersection at the 100 block of East 9th and Meridian during the trick or treating on October 31st. And it's with Relissa, and she's making her way to the podium.
Hi, everyone. So we were just talking with a group of people that we have that put Halloween on at our house every year. And last year it really picked up in traffic. There was a lot of cars that drove by. They weren't necessarily watching for the kids. There was a lot to look at. The children are not watching when they're running across the road. We did have somebody directing traffic, but it still like worries me that the kids are going, somebody's gonna get injured. You know what I mean? So we were just wanting to get approval to be able to block off just the intersection and then just up like past our barn a little bit, which would go up the road a little bit. It shouldn't block any of the neighbors from being able to come home or to leave. And all of our neighbors are very supportive of everything that we do. So I'm sure that it won't be a problem.
Chief, do you have anything for blocking off this like half block?
Yeah, I talked with Melissa earlier, and it was a great activity for all the families. There's a nice photo opportunity, and it really gets, it's a family event. So it's only for during trick or treat time.
Yeah.
It's not for a whole night or anything, so I think it's a really good idea, and it's safe for the kids.
And somebody can provide road barricades? Is that
Yeah,
something
generally,
we-
it's the public works drop them off.
We
They'll-
can.
they'll take care of it.
Close on a Tuesday, so we'll just make sure that we get some set up,
Mhm.
and it should be running in at the end of the night. If you guys just put it on the
Yeah.
curb, we can have it picked up the next day.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
I second.
All right, so the motion is to block off the 100 block of East 9th Street from 5 PM to 7 PM.
Correct.
And that was Cummins with first and Helm with the second.
Postian,
Yes.
McNeil, Hembry,
Yes.
Cummins. Yes. Helm.
Yes.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
All right, and I was actually approached by an organization, DVIP. They're here. If you wouldn't mind coming up to the podium. I know they're not scheduled, but they're an organization, and I'm assuming it's for the month of October.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much for having us here. So my name is Elias Ortiz, and I'm from the Domestic Violence Intervention Program. And typically, within our proclamation for the month of October, it really is to show support for survivors of domestic violence. So that includes not just domestic violence, human trafficking, sexual assault. And so we provide all services from 8 counties, this being one of them. And you guys know Alda very well.
Yes.
Is over there who does fantastic work. So foremost, usually, typically we have an actual letter to provide for you guys that the mayor reads off and, just really showcases the support for DV survivors. But we weren't on the agenda this time officially, but we will try to give you that letter fairly soon. So my apologies for that, but I still wanted to thank all of you guys for the support, because one thing that DVIP can't do is continue this work without the support, not just from city officials from the counties that work with the board of supervisors, but mostly also community members who live in these counties, because we live off donations for families and for kids. So as you can imagine, when you have very little, and you have the clothing off your back, because you had to flee an abusive situation, it really matters. And those supports, just like the support donations that we've received right now from from the local church, really takes us a long ways. And so you guys leave an imprint on those services for our clients. So we appreciate everything you guys do. We appreciate everything, every single donation, gift card, stuff like that, because it's the clients who receive the services. And so I wanted to say thank you very much for everything. And so if you guys have any questions or still need any supports, I'm sure you guys have her on speed dial for anything. And so thank you all for everything.
Yes, and just so you guys know, we do have another meeting in 2 weeks, so if you get that to me.
Sure, absolutely.
We'll have
And
it into the
thank
record.
you, Brian. I appreciate it. Like I said, typically we have all this set up. But like I said, I still appreciate the moment, all the night that we can come up here and talk to you guys and show the work that you guys have done that really take us a long way. So thank you. And we do have some brochures and other stuff that we have, and packets and pamphlets that you guys can hand out or just keep here if you would like. And if you run out, I'm sure Alda can get you guys some more in no time. But thank you all.
Yep,
Thanks.
thank you. Thank you for all your hard work with that unfortunate topic.
Thank you.
All right, so that wraps up our scheduled communications, and now it's to the unscheduled. So if anyone would like to address the council, you can make your way if you want to the podium. State your name for the record.
My name is Candace Scott. As I'm sure many of you know, my husband was attacked by a dog a couple of weeks ago. This statement, I'm here to represent my family because my husband just can't deal with this anymore. And they're staying at home because today is my birthday and they're making me birthday dinner. So just like to say my piece and head out. So my name is Candace Scott. I am the spouse of Chase Scott, who is one of our letter carriers at the Tipton Post Office. On September 18th, my husband was attacked by a vicious dog, causing an injury that required reporting and medical attention. The dog was euthanized last week, but only after I personally canvassed the neighborhood looking for evidence and witnesses to the attack, and after being told by Chief DeFur that she would not declare the dog vicious after only one bite. This is in direct contradiction to Tipton's municipal code regarding vicious animals. Afterwards, I campaigned via Postal Service and the Facebook Residents of Tipton page, asking people to write letters to the mayor, to the postmaster, to city council representatives regarding this animal. This has been a very trying and traumatic experience, and that's why my husband isn't here this evening. We've gotten so much kindness, caring, and support from the community, and our family is truly grateful. What I was not prepared for was the influx of stories regarding animal attacks and animal control issues and other very basic laws that are not being enforced. I will be sharing these stories via email to the council in the near future. It's too much to do here. The same things were repeated to me over and over. We don't feel our families, children, pets are safe due to animal control issues. We do not have confidence that if we do complain that anything will be done about it. We have been actively discouraged by the police regarding reports of code violations. When we have made complaints, little to nothing was done about it. Repeatedly, I was told, bypass the Tipton Police Department. Go to the county sheriff. The Tipton Police Department will do nothing. Or we reported something that was told to Tipton Police Department. They were told by the Tipton Police Department that they wouldn't or couldn't do anything. Residents were more confident in reporting loose animals to a Facebook page than to our police. People complained that our police department is required to act as animal control despite being untrained, unequipped, and unsupported by their department and the city leadership. That the police have no place to take dangerous or loose animals. That our police department are expected to know what constitutes rabies symptoms, despite not having any knowledge of animal behavioralism or medical degree in veterinary medicine. Chase and I experienced all of these things when dealing with this recent animal attack. Cedar County and the city of Tipton, I believe, are doing a great disservice to residents in regards to the laws that are supposed to shape our community and the police force that they pay for and who we are supposed to be able to go to during our most vulnerable moments. My family personally felt bullied and dismissed by our chief of police and had no confidence in her willingness to stand up for us, and in fact, who tried to paint the owner of the attacking animal as the victim. I would like you to please reflect on the stories that I send to the council by your constituents and make a resolution personally to do better for your community.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. If there's anyone else who would like to address the city council, please make your way to the podium. And we don't have anybody online. All right, so we'll close that portion of the meeting and move on to the consent agenda. These are items that can be enacted. And it's the approval of the council meeting minutes from September 18th. Approval of a trip request from Dean Chalice at 300 East 7th Street. Approval request from Michael and Julie Stufen at 901 East South Street. Who's that on? That was just us. All right. Sorry. Approval of a drip request for Guillermo Pacheco at 310 Cedar Street, and approval of the claims register, which includes claims paid under the current purchase policy. Do any of these need to be pulled out separately? Seeing there are none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion. Posture with the first.
Second.
And Cummins with the second.
Neal?
Yes.
Embry?
Yes.
Cummins?
Yes.
Helm?
Yes.
Posturing.
Yes. All right, now down to, we do have some public hearings tonight. And the first one is the public hearing on the plans, specs, form of contract, and the engineer's estimate for the industrial circuit electrical construction project. And this is labor only. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion. Second.
McNeil with the first and Cummins with the second.
Embry?
Yes.
Cummins?
Yes.
Helm?
Yes.
Posturing.
Yes.
McNeil?
Yes. All right, the public hearing is open.
We have not received any comments coming into the public hearing. This again is for the electrical work that would be placed in the conduits that are being considered in the next public hearing. The estimated cost of this electrical work was $150,000. The overall project is $1.5 million. And in the upcoming council meetings, we're probably going to have some action for you to finalize the revenue bonds for the electric utility. We did all of the preliminary work for the industrial, or for the electric revenue bonds in the past, but we need to finalize that bond issuance later.
Any input for John? Any extra on me anymore? Nope. All right, if there's no other input, is there a motion to close this public hearing?
Motion.
Cummins with the first and Helm with the second.
Embry?
Yes.
Cummins?
Yes.
Helm?
Yes.
Posturing.
Yes.
McNeil?
Yes. All right, our second public hearing, it's a hearing on the plan specs, form of contract, and the engineer's cost estimate for the 15 kV industrial circuit underground utility construction project. This is labor only again. Is there a motion to open this public hearing?
Motion.
Cummins with the first and Posturing with the second.
Cummins?
Yes.
Helm?
Yes.
Posturing.
Yes.
McNeil?
Yes.
Embry?
Yes. All right, so this public hearing is open. Mr. Wagner?
And for this, we haven't received any comments. This is for the same $1.5 million estimated project. This aspect of it would be the conduit, basically, that would go underground. That estimate was $450,000.
Do you guys have any questions up here? Anybody? And you had gotten no communications
Right.
before this?
Right.
All right. If there's no other comments or anything, is there a motion to close this public hearing?
No.
Second. Cummins with the first and McNeil with the second.
Cummins?
Yes.
Helm?
Yeah.
Washington?
Yes.
McNeil?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
All right, our next public hearing would be on the proposed amendments to the City of Tipton Code of Ordinances that relate to zoning regulations. And it's a draft ordinance that has been placed in our packet. The council's first opportunity to act on that will be on October 9th, a week from today. Is there a motion to open this public hearing?
Motion.
McNeil with the first and Cummins with the second.
Henry?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
McNeil?
Yes.
Helm?
Yes.
Cummins?
Mr. Wagner?
On this, the ordinance that we included in your packet, it basically tries to clarify setback rules. And it came about because of the Rosh Villages project. Now, right now, a side setback in an R2 zone or multifamily zone is 5 feet. It's the minimum, it's 5 feet. This increases it to 10 feet. We're looking at Rosh Villages being more like 15 feet. We haven't had their updated site plan come in. That's supposed to come in tomorrow if it's on time. The other thing that this does is there's some bump out areas on the backs of the proposed condos, like bay windows, for example. The idea here is for the setback to be measured off of the primary foundation wall, not the bump out. And in their project, it's only a difference of about 2 feet or so. So we're not asking for readings tonight on this, but we are required to have a public hearing on it because it is a significant change to the zoning ordinance. I have to, later in the meeting, I want to comment both this note and the note for the number 4 refer to October 9th, the special meeting. The primary reason for that meeting has fallen through. That was a joint meeting with the TEDCO board. I want to come back to that under my part of the agenda and talk a little bit more about whether to have that meeting or to shift the other items we were going to talk about to your meeting on October 16th. But again, no comments have been received.
I have a question though. When you say setback, does that mean all of the way around the property?
It means, yes, well, in this case, it was meant to, where we talk about the bump outs, that means all the way around.
But to the property line.
To the property line, yes.
So this would make it 15 feet to the next property line is the closest this building can sit.
It would be 10.
Or sorry, yeah.
10 instead of 5. And in the Rosh project, it's going to be more like 15.
Okay. Is there any questions? Yes.
Is that gonna be just side yard, or will that be rear yard or front yard also?
The front yard,
25.
because, yeah, it's 25. So that only comes into play where it's at the nearest point to the right-of-way of Lemon. The rear setbacks are also 25, and so off the primary foundation wall, it does meet 25. Those bump outs that come out a couple feet, this ordinance would allow that.
Okay, so since this property is being set back away from the roadway, there's another property in between, these would be considered side yard setbacks and not front yard?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing that was primarily in mind in this was the Hillier property south of the 2nd Street right away, to give it a little bit more distance. So if there are examples like that that come along later, this would apply to those two.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments in this public hearing? Then is there a motion to close this public hearing?
Motion. Second.
McNeil with the first and Posturing with the second.
Helm,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Cummins.
Yes.
All right, the fourth public hearing tonight, it's on a proposed vacation and transfer of city of right of way. And it also goes on to say that this generally it involves an undeveloped 80 by 100 right of way of West Second Street, west of the Lemon Street right of way. And it would also include a proposed private drive for those Roche villages. The council's first opportunity to act on it would be October 9th as well. Is there a motion to open this public hearing?
Motion.
McNeil with the first
Second.
and Cummins with the second.
Washington,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Cummins.
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
All right, then this public hearing is open. Mr. Wagner?
Yeah. Both the question of the zoning regulations in the previous hearing and here about vacating that right of way, those are both going to be topics at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on Thursday. They're going to do a site visit at 4:00 at that location with Roche representatives, and then they'll be here at 5 on Thursday to act as the P and Z Commission. And so a recommendation will be coming your way from P and Z when it comes to both these zoning regulations and the street right of way. And another item that isn't on this agenda, but it will be later, and that's the approval of their site plan. But for this item, again, we haven't received any comments specific to the public hearing. We've been working with the engineer from comments made by city department heads, the city engineer, city attorney. Those are all going into the next version of the site plan.
So just to make sure, we don't have a finalized site plan.
Right.
Okay.
We're expecting that if their goal from last week comes through, that's supposed to arrive tomorrow.
All right, any questions or comments? All right, is there a motion to close this public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
Posturing with the first and Cummins with the second.
Washington,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Cummins.
Yes.
Helm.
Yes.
All right, that moves us down to city business, and the first one is a resolution approving the street finance report for road use tax funds on city streets and also parking. Ms. Armstrong?
This report is an annual report that we file with the DOT. I'm just going to summarize the report for you that we received $433,338 in road use tax funds. That was slightly lower than the prior year, which was $437,093. And our expenses totaled $328,353. We didn't have any major projects this year like we did last year due to saving for North Lawn.
Any questions for Melissa on this? Is there a motion to approve this finance report?
Motion.
McNeil with the first
Second.
and Helm with the second.
McNeil,
Yes.
Embry,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
The second one is a resolution that would award the base bid and alternate one to Foster Kraus for the James Kennedy Family Aquatic Center Pool Dehumidification Project of 2023. Mr. Wagner?
Yeah, the resolution summarizes where the two bids landed along and compared to the engineer's estimate. Before the meeting, I laid out a letter to you, and I also sent it before the meeting. I don't know if you saw it or not, but it's the engineer's recommendation to accept the Foster Kraus bid. It's Adam's recommendation to also include the acceptance of alternate one in order to tie everything into the control system. And he's online if anybody has any questions for him. But the combination of the base bid and alternate one come to $210,396.
Any questions or comments?
You said that's 30 days. No, it's 30 days as far as stuff.
Their bid was supposed to be good 30 days, yes.
Did Dan have any clarification as to why there's such a disparity between the two bids?
One was J.L. Brady. The source they used for stainless steel was a lot higher than the quote that Kraus had. The other one was J.L. Brady assumed a lot of scaffolding, and Kraus is going to use another method. I think it's in the letter how they were going to do it, but they were going to use a totally different method. Brady challenged the Kraus bid, saying, their structural steel was 200,000 alone. And that was part of the reason why this has kind of dragged out a little bit since the bid opening. The engineer was following up with Kraus saying, where's your steel coming from? And then how are you going to do it if you're not going to use scaffolding? And he made a comment in there how one way of doing it isn't the preferred way, but it is acceptable. I suppose the advantage that Kraus has is he's worked up there before. He's familiar with the system.
Are they gonna get this in this year?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
But this, am I reading the letter right, that the bid is not gonna include any shoring of the dehumidification unit? Is that gonna be some expense that's on top of this? Or what am I missing here?
she's looking at the letter.
Could I have one of the letters? Yeah, I remember him telling me when he called on Friday, the engineer, that that Kraus was going to do it a different way, but it wasn't preferred, but it was acceptable. I'm sorry, I don't have anything else. Adam, do you have any comments?
No, I don't. I just I wanted to say like that secondary, the 11,000, that was for like we can see everything from my office. So we don't have to go up on the roof all the time. That's why I wanted to have that secondary alternate bid added on to it.
So is Kraus gonna give the option on how much ductwork they change?
I I don't know. If there are questions, if we do have a meeting on the 9th or go to the 16th, you can table this and I could get the engineer to appear.
Safer doing
I
that.
think I would table.
Table.
All right, so
Motion to table.
Cummins made the motion to table to either the 9th or the 16th,
Second.
and Helmut the second.
Hembry,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
All right, next one is a resolution that would approve the form of contract and the engineer's cost estimate for that industrial circuit of electrical construction project. Mr. Wagner?
This is just a follow-up to the public hearing.
Nothing's changed since then?
No.
All right. Is there a motion to approve this resolution? Henry with the first?
Second.
And McNeil with the second?
Cummins,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
All right, number 4, this is a resolution that would approve those plans, specs, form of contract, and the engineer's cost estimate for the 15 kV industrial circuit underground utility. I'm assuming nothing's changed since then either, so if nobody has any questions, is there a motion to approve this? Helm with the first,
Second.
and Henry with the second?
Helm,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Cummins.
All right, so that takes us down to number 5, which is a discussion of possible action concerning downtown business concerns for next year's Highway 38. And Linda Beck wrote up the synopsis on that. Ms. Beck?
Yes, well, I'm trying to be proactive instead of reactive. So I've been spending some time with our businesses. I have not had opportunity to be with all businesses downtown. And I actually have been just asking the same questions to everyone to see where they're at. Because I first want to say they very much are appreciative of what Cedar Street to the south looks right now. They're concerned, they don't want to go into another COVID type situation where they're going to be losing business with the Highway 38 project coming downtown next year. So we've been walking the alleys because during pouring sidewalks, and they have been paying attention to how long it really has taken to pour some of the sidewalks. They are paying attention to what's going on. And I think knowing that, we can come up with some solutions to that. But in the alleys, we know that local traffic's gonna start going down those alleys. And they have concerns. You've seen some of their concerns. I don't need to go through all the concerns with you. But what I want to do is try to iron things out with our businesses so they feel very comfortable next summer or next spring, summer, fall, when the street is torn up in front of their business. I want to bring things to the forefront for all of you. I think it's very important that you know what's going on and what our businesses are thinking. They are the core of our community. They are what keeps us going. And so I don't know if you have any questions with any of this. I would be very happy if you ever want to call me and we'll walk the alleys. We certainly can do that. A lot of the destruction right now in the alleys really is attributed to MediaCom and Windstream. They have torn those alleys up. They are not being properly, right at this point, being refilled. So for instance, I go across a huge dip in the alley. I try to go the other way anymore because it's bad. And it's because of what either MediaCom or Windstream has done in my particular area. In the 300 block, Kevin Cochran's, his looks great. I wanted to point that out as well. That one looks great. But one thing I thought was very interesting too is having one-way traffic go down those alleys because of congestion. And I understand that. They're trying to make things safe. And they just want to make sure that they understand progress in construction, and not that they do not understand that at all. They do, and they like, again, what they're seeing. But they just want to make sure that they were hit hard, many of them, during COVID, and they can't take another hit like that with construction. So again, trying to be proactive and not reactive, trying to bring you to the forefront. Again, if you want to come to my office and walk with me, we certainly can do that. And then last, just to see how important our businesses are, Last week I put out an SOS because now I'm working on the new banners for next year. And I put an SOS out because we had 3 brothers that needed help getting a banner. And one of the commitments that we did was no veteran was ever going to be left behind for a lack of funds. And so within 3 minutes of sending that email, I can't even tell you how many businesses have said to me, we will sponsor all 3. And then finally I had to shut it off and send another email out that said all 3 had been sponsored. So our businesses are very committed to our community, and they are very committed to the people that live here. And I just want to show the same respect to them. Thank you.
If I could add to this.
Oh.
Linda's synopsis mentioned municipal infraction for Windstream. That was filed last week. And I think one of the things I have about Windstream is not only have they dragged this out, because they're the ones that have the most poles. You know, the city electric utility has some poles in the northernmost block. They have poles that go down the length of that alley. We've been after them since 2019 to cooperate with us. Now they're going to talk to the magistrate. Today, well, again, just the thing I have about Windstream, they know that we were trying to clear the alley of above ground obstacles, above ground infrastructure. And what they've done is they put above ground pedestals that take up more ground space than the poles we want them to remove. And some of those it's very obvious that it's cutting off some of the access that people have to the rear of their property to drive in. Now, different from that, today, Steve and Virgil and I walked the alley with 3 guys from MediaCom. And MediaCom is basically going to, in that northernmost block, for example, they're going to move their pedestals. They have fewer pedestals than Windstream, but they're talking to us about moving the pedestals from the east side of the alley to the west side of the alley, where you don't see the same access problems or driveways. And so they said it wouldn't be immediate, they've got to draw it up, but at least they're trying to work with us after quite a bit of time. So anyway, one more thing about the alley. For your October 16th meeting, Steve is trying to collect quotes from Kleesner about asphalt work in the alley. Now, this is nothing like the estimate that we looked at when it was a concrete idea. Nothing near that. But we have to do something. And along with us doing something, I think the property owners along the alley ought to do something too, because those areas are out of sight, out of mind, I think. And they're overgrown with weeds and vines and things like that. So I'm hoping that if we do something, the city does something to improve the alley, make it more accessible, clear the infrastructure out of there, maybe add to the surface, making it better. I hope that the abutting businesses take stock of how their properties that meet the alley look and take care of those, because that increased traffic is going to be seeing that too if it's not taken care of. And, you know, I'm not suggesting any finely manicured anything. I'm just suggesting not allowing all that weed growth to happen, especially when that alley is going to be somewhat on display due to the closure of Cedar Street. So that's all I wanted to add to that item. Thanks.
All right. I don't think there's any pending action concerning that other than we keep plans
Just
moving forward.
information.
Yep. All right, then that brings us down to the reports. The mayor's report. I did have the opportunity to attend our fireman's pancake breakfast. It was very good, and it sounds like moving it out to the fairgrounds up to the attendance a little bit. Mr. Bastian, thank you. And by all means, next year, please everybody attend it. They make some good food, and it's like a full breakfast. It's not just not pancakes, biscuits and gravy and eggs. It's all there. All right, council reports, committee, city manager.
I have a couple things. Also for your meeting on the 16th, Steve is going to come back with an updated report after talking to the seating or landscape contractor. He has an update that he wants to share with you at that next meeting on the 16th. For North Avenue, yes. Going back to what I mentioned about the meeting on October 9th falling through, that was with Tedco. Along with that, since we were meeting anyway, we wanted to put in items related to the Ross Villages project. There would be 3 items the council could consider approval of the site plan, and readings on an ordinance to vacate that right away, and readings on an ordinance concerning these setback regulations that we talked about. Now, if you would rather not have a special meeting for those 3 items, we could move all of them to October 16th. But with that, there'd probably be the hope from the developer that ordinances could be done with waived readings so they can get in there and start working. So I'll leave it up to you. If you want to not do the meeting on the 9th, that's fine. We'll just move those things to the 16th. If you want to meet on the 9th to talk about any of this, we can do that too.
What's the guidance? You just want to stick?
Does the developer want to get moving before the 16th meeting?
I think they'd like to.
Let's just do the 9th.
I was gonna say, I'm sure they're under a time crunch. They want to get things moving before.
I'm okay with that.
P and Z is going Thursday, right?
Yep,
Yes.
this Thursday.
Yes. So they'll make recommendations at that meeting for the 9th.
All right, we'll stick with that original timeline.
And then one other thing about the Tedco thing. We're looking at trying to set up a meeting. The reason why the 9th was postponed was we're trying to get a better reading or understanding of what Tedco's obligations are, what their finances are, what if the city can help them or not. And I don't know if we can help them or not because I don't know a lot of their inside information. So there's an effort to set up a noontime meeting with Tedco on October 26th. My suggestion is if our finance committee is available, that'd be Tim and Abby.
Just send me a
An email.
reminder or an email.
Yeah, okay. And, you
I'll make
know,
it work.
and then maybe before the 26th, we might want to just put our heads together and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, I'll come in.
Okay, that's all I have.
All right. Department heads, John, Linda. All right, then that takes us down to adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Helmut's first and McNeil with the second.
McNeil?
Yes.
Humphrey?
Yes.
Helm?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.